The year I was 5, Mama and Daddy and I moved from Haw Creek across the highway and built a house. Mama was a professor of botany and she loved all growing things. Why, her thumb was green clear up to her shoulder. She proposed to plant our acreage with multi-purpose conifers, Christmas trees, live ones, lit, beautifully decorated and displayed in the living room picture window, to be taken outside after Christmas, planted in the yard to thrive. Every late November, she and I would go on an outing. This was something we really enjoyed. It was the outing to pick the tree. We would go to Jessie Israel's nursery in Candler, and she and Jessie would stroll through the nursery talking about new plants and cultivars and looking at old favorites. Then Mama and I would go out into the field, tag the tree, and leave. On the way home, we would stop at the Biltmore Dairy Bar. For dessert, there was always the rich, creamy Biltmore ice cream made right there on the estate. And then, on our way home, we'd stop at Buck's Drive-In and get carry-out for Daddy. That's where he liked to eat. And later in November, Daddy and I would get in the big Ford truck and drive back out to Jessie's and bring home the 100-pound bald and burlapped spruce. While we were gone, Mama made the Christmas goodies. Every year she made dozens of sugar cookies in wondrous shapes, covered with colorful icings and sprinkles and silver shot. There would usually be some kind of nut chocolate fudge and a fruit cake and walnut divinity, because that's what Daddy liked. It was a labor of love encompassing almost the whole day, and it involved billows of flour and confectioner sugar, pots and pans, every implement and utensil in the kitchen, boiling substances and candy thermometers. In my Mama's mind, the live Christmas tree, the Christmas goodies, and the actual Christmas parade constituted our family's Christmas tradition. And you had better believe that Mama loved it and defended it. Now, the year I was 9, Mama announced she was going to plant the final conifer after this Christmas. It was not the Serbian, the Colorado blue, the Engelmann, or the Norway spruce of former years. Oh, no. This was the crowned regent, the Cadillac of Christmas trees, the Fraser fir. Oh, with soft, bouncy limbs, dark emerald green, velvety soft needles, and that sticky, resinous Christmas smell. You know the one I mean. It was the perfect tree. John, said Mama, this year I want you to choose our Christmas tree. All right, I'll do it, he said. She took a paper and wrote down the perfect tree specifications, 6 to 7 feet tall, with the proper correlation of terminal to skirt. She handed it to Daddy, who smiled and folded it into his wallet. That afternoon, we went down to the Asheville Christmas parade. Oh, what a treat that was every year. It formed up down on Valley Street behind the police and fire departments. It came up the hill, wrapped around Pack Square, marched down Patton Avenue, executed a sharp right turn at Pritchard Park, and swept smartly up Haywood Street. There were convertibles carrying shivering and half-naked beauty queens. There were fire engines from all over western North Carolina. I mean, the whole place could have burnt down on Asheville Christmas Parade Day, and their sirens were all blaring. There were high school bands from all over the region. There were horse riders, cowboys, walking clowns, and jugglers and acrobats flipping all over the street. We craned our necks to see the Stevens Lee High School high-stepping band. They were beating out a tantalizing tattoo on their drumline while their majorettes swept the street from side to side, tossing up and catching their flaming batons. Oh, it was a wonderful, wonderful season. The lights on every pole and the decorations that the city had put up, the shop windows with their embellishments of red and green and gold, and the percussion sections of the bands beating in my chest made it hard for me to breathe. And I was very excited. I panted with excitement. And in fact, I barely had breath to holler, "Hey, Santa," when he appeared. It was so hard to sleep that night. Well, my daddy was up early the next morning. He was fixing breakfast for us. He had already pulled out the big boxes of outdoor lights and decorations from the attic and set them in the front yard. He nudged me, handed me a $20 bill, winked, and whispered, "After you help Mama with the goodies and the two of you go uptown shopping, you buy her a nice present. When you get home, there's going to be a really nice surprise for you." Oh boy, I thought, the tree will be up and we can decorate it. Well, Mama and I made red and white striped candy cane cookies, Swedish wedding cookies, chocolate chips with nuts. We made 2 runs of chocolate pecan fudge and the lightest, most delicious walnut divinity ever. Oh, Daddy would be so happy. Then we put on our go-to-town clothes and went on uptown to shop. We passed through Ivy's and John Carroll. We wound up at Bon Marché, where the $20 bill I had bought Mother a tall, stately, sculpted bottle of Charles of the Red's hand lotion while she pretended to browse the glove counter. Now, the store was full of eager shoppers, just fantasy displays, perfumed air, and mannequins dressed in sumptuous holiday finery. Christmas music was in the air, and it competed with the excited chatter of the shoppers. Oh, oh, I whirled and twirled to catch every sight. "Ladies don't gate," reminded Mother. Yes. One of Beaumarchais' outside windows had been turned into this fantasy forest. There were child-sized brown velvet teddy bears, and they were capering amongst silken foliage and trees, and they wore little red vests, Peter Pan collars, and black patent leather boots. They were kicking and bowing to "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." Kick, bow. Oh, they were wonderful, and children's faces were pressed against the glass with nose prints and big round mouth prints. It was wondrous to see the mechanized bears. "Come along, come on now," said their mamas, pulling them away. Mother and I walked down to Patton Avenue to the man's store, where she purchased Daddy a new camel's hair overcoat, and I bought him a brown and tan silk tie with Mama's $20 bill. Oh, our eyes were shining with the presents, with the remembrance of the Christmas goodies at home in the kitchen, and the thought of the beautiful tree that would be awaiting us in the picture window. Armed with our presents and carry-out from Buck's drive-in for Daddy, Mama and I danced through the kitchen and tapped at the French doors. "Oh, John, may we come in?" trolled Mama. We looked at each other and we wriggled with delight and anticipation. Oh, we couldn't wait. "Just a moment, my dears. I'm turning on the lights." And then the door sprang open to my father's smiling face. "Come in, my dears, and see your Christmas tree." Mom and I stepped into the living room, and suddenly, whoosh, Mama sucked all the oxygen out of the room. There, sitting on her carpet, was a color wheel spinning garish primary colors from corner to corner in her elegant rose and blue living room. We looked in the picture window. Oh, sitting atop her drum table in the window was this 4-foot aluminum pole on a stand. It had 16 naked branches, and dangling dismally from each one were tiny plastic balls? Oh, the color wheel was squeaking in time to the stereo, playing, "Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, how lovely are your branches." It was the awfullest Christmas tree ever. Where were the soft, bouncy limbs? Where were the softly glowing lights and the hand-blown German glass ornaments? Where were the red feathered cardinals and the gold and the crimson bows and the big globes whose surface held the entire room? And where was the lacy presiding angel? It wasn't there at all. My father stood there, his mouth open, in mute perplexity. What had he done wrong? Mother looked at him, blinked, swallowed slowly, and croaked out, "Oh, John, it's not real," giving him a very thin smile. She turned and tilted and cruised her way into the kitchen, touching base with every door facing and piece of furniture in her way. Sinking into a chair at the table, she uttered a series of piteous cries that my father later described discreetly as a dying calf in a hailstorm under a tin roof. With a flick of her wrist and a flourish, she sent the tray of divinity sailing in a graceful 4-foot arc into the garbage can. My startled Siamese cat pirouetted up from her basket, careened around the corner, and into the living room where she collided, crash-bang, with the color wheel. Scrambling up, her tail all bottle-brushed, she departed for regions unknown in the back of the house. The color wheel, now mortally wounded, lay on its side, sawing and hawing to the unctuous strains of "Oh, Holy Night." The year I was 36 years old, Mama and Daddy and I sat on the front porch of the log house I had built in Haywood County. Spread out below us and shimmering in the late October sun, bristling with buyer's tags, were 2 of the first 9 acres of Fraser fir that I had set. Pointing to a stately 8-foot beauty, Mama said, with a little bit of attitude, "Look, John, that's a real Christmas tree."